dive in. Today, we're going deep on something I think we all kind of take for granted, sleep.
Yeah.
But we've got some NIH articles here. One's about sleep health generally, and the other's about how sleep actually like works inside us. So,
Yeah, the cool thing about sleep is that it's not just like downtime, you know?
oh, really?
Your brain's super active when you're asleep, doing all these things that are important for how healthy you are overall.
That's interesting. So it's not just like powering down and recharging.
Nope,
Oh.
not at all. And like one of the most fascinating things is this like waste removal system your brain has
Oh, wow.
that really gets going during sleep, like a cleaning crew for your brain every night.
I like that analogy, yeah.
Yeah. So there was research by Dr. Macon Niedergard, and she found this system that flushes out toxins that build up while you're awake.
Right.
And some of these toxins are, get this, linked to Alzheimer's.
Oh, wow.
And what's even crazier is this cleaning. It happens twice as fast when you're asleep.
So hang on. So getting good sleep could actually protect you from like cognitive decline later on.
It definitely suggests the strong link between how well you sleep and how healthy your brain stays.
Okay, that's a good reason to get some sleep right there.
Right. And it's not just about, avoiding disease. Think about how much sharper you are after you've slept well.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
You remember things better, you focus easier, you're just more on it,
It's like a performance enhancer, but for your brain.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, but it's not just our brains, right? Like sleep's got to be important for the rest of our bodies too.
Oh, for sure. It's like nighttime maintenance happening all over.
Oh, okay.
Muscles get repaired, blood vessels too. Even your immune system gets stronger while you sleep.
So speaking of the immune system, I know sleep's involved in fighting off like infections and stuff. How does that work?
Well, you have certain immune cells, these T cells, that get more active when you're asleep. They're like your body's little soldiers fighting off those infections. And when you don't sleep enough, those T cells, they get suppressed. So you're more likely to get sick.
That is so interesting. It's funny because I always seem to get a cold when I've had a bunch of late nights.
Right.
It's like my body just can't keep up.
Totally.
Yeah.
Sleep is crucial for your immune system to work its best. And it's not just those little colds. Chronic sleep deprivation weakens your whole immune system. So then you're at risk for more serious stuff down the road.
So basically, skimping on sleep is like leaving the door wide open for anything to attack you.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, so that's a scary thought. But I think we should talk about some of the misconceptions people have about sleep.
Okay, sure.
The things that might be stopping them from getting the rest they need. Like I've heard people say you need less sleep as you get older. Is that true?
It's a pretty common myth, but it's not entirely accurate. Our sleep patterns might change as we age, but how much sleep we actually need stays pretty consistent throughout adulthood.
So like those afternoon naps our grandparents take, maybe that's not just a habit.
Exactly. As we age, the quality of our sleep can decline, like waking up more during the night or having trouble falling asleep in the first place. So it seems like we need less sleep overall, but it's more that our sleep is getting broken up. The need is still there.
Okay, that makes sense. What about this idea of catching up on sleep on the weekends? Can we really erase a whole week of bad sleep with a couple of long mornings in bed?
Sadly, no. One night of catch-up sleep might make you feel better temporarily, but it doesn't undo the damage from not sleeping enough consistently. There was this study, they looked at people who chronically didn't get enough sleep. Even when they let them sleep in on weekends, they still had negative metabolic effects.
Huh. So it's like trying to pay off a massive credit card bill with spare change.
Exactly.
Doesn't really solve the problem, does it?
Nope. You can't really cheat your way out of sleep debt.
Okay, so no shortcuts there. But let's talk about how sleep connects to other parts of our health, like weight, hormones, and metabolism.
Oh, that's a really interesting area. We're finding that not sleeping enough can mess with your hormones, which leads to all sorts of metabolic problems.
Okay, so how does that work? How does lack of sleep actually affect our hormones?
So, first off, when you're sleep deprived, your body makes more ghrelin. That's the hormone that makes you feel hungry.
Oh.
And at the same time, it makes less leptin, the hormone that tells you you're full.
Okay, so you're basically hungry all the time and nothing really satisfies you.
Right. You're more likely to snack and overeat because your body isn't sending you the right signals.
Wow, that's sneaky.
Yeah, but it gets worse. Sleep deprivation also messes with cortisol, your stress hormone. High cortisol levels can disrupt your metabolism even more and can contribute to insulin resistance, which means your body can't regulate blood sugar as well.
So we're talking about a domino effect here. Bad sleep leads to hormonal chaos, then your metabolism gets out of whack, and it's harder to stay at a healthy weight.
Exactly. And that's why chronic sleep loss is now considered a big risk factor for obesity and other metabolic issues like type 2 diabetes.
It's all making sense now. Poor sleep equals messed up hormones, which means your metabolism and appetite are all over the place, and that makes it more likely to gain weight and have a bunch of health problems.
It's a complicated system, but the bottom line is that good sleep is essential for keeping your metabolism healthy and preventing weight gain.
And I bet this all ties back to the immune system too, right?
Absolutely.
Less sleep, weaker defenses.
Those T cells we talked about, they're like your front line against infection.
Yeah.
When you're not getting enough sleep, their activity drops, making you vulnerable to all sorts of bugs.
It's like your immune system's running on fumes.
Exactly. And remember, a weak immune system doesn't just mean more colds. It also ups your risk for more serious stuff, like autoimmune diseases and even some cancers.
Okay, I think we've made it pretty clear that sleep is about way more than just feeling rested. It's fundamental to our health and well-being. But before we talk about tips for better sleep, I think we should touch on sleep disorders briefly.
Yes, definitely. Because sometimes people struggle to sleep even when they're trying their best. There might be some underlying medical reasons why they can't get enough sleep.
Okay, so what are some common sleep disorders that people should know about?
Probably the most well-known one is insomnia.
Right.
That's when you have trouble falling asleep, staying asleep, or both. It can be short-term, like just for a few weeks or months, or it can become a chronic problem.
And I've also heard of sleep apnea. Is that another common one?
Yeah, sleep apnea is pretty common, especially for people who are overweight or obese. It's when your breathing pauses during sleep, and that can really mess with your sleep quality and make you tired during the day.
Okay. So, what should someone do if they think they might have a sleep disorder?
The most important thing is to talk to their doctor. They can figure out if there's a medical reason behind it and recommend the best treatment options.
That's great advice. Okay, now let's get to some practical tips for better sleep. Our NIH articles have some good suggestions. But, we should emphasize that these are just general guidelines.
Yeah.
What works for one person might not work for everyone.
Absolutely. It's always best to talk to your doctor for personalized advice. But there are some basic things that apply to most people. Like having a regular sleep schedule is super important. That helps regulate your body's natural sleep-wake cycle.
So even on weekends, try to stick to a consistent bedtime and wake-up time.
Exactly. It's like setting an internal clock for your body.
Okay.
And another thing that helps is a relaxing bedtime routine, like taking a warm bath, reading, listening to calming music, something to signal to your body that it's time to wind down.
Yeah, I like that. And I know you're going to say this, but what about screen time?
Oh, yeah.
Is it really that bad for our sleep?
It can be, especially right before bed. The blue light that comes from phones and computers, it messes with your melatonin production, which is the hormone that helps you fall asleep.
So no more late-night scrolling.
It's best to avoid screens for at least an hour before bed. But if you have to use them, try a blue light filter or those glasses that block blue light to minimize the effects.
Good to know. What about exercise? I know it's good for you generally, but does it affect sleep?
Regular exercise can definitely help you sleep better, but the timing is important. Avoid intense workouts too close to bedtime. They can make it harder to fall asleep.
Yeah, that makes sense. Give your body time to wind down. And what about caffeine and alcohol?
Ah, the classics.
How do those affect sleep?
Caffeine's a stimulant, so it can keep you from falling asleep and staying asleep. Best to avoid it for a few hours before bed.
Okay, no late-night coffee then. What about alcohol?
Alcohol can make you feel sleepy at first, but then it messes with your sleep later in the night. You might wake up more often and not reach those deep, restorative sleep stages.
So moderation is key, especially if you're trying to prioritize sleep. But even with the perfect bedtime routine and healthy habits, sometimes stress can just keep us up at night.
Oh, absolutely. Stress is a major sleep saboteur.
Yeah.
When you're stressed, your body releases hormones like cortisol that keep you alert and make it harder to fall asleep.
So what can we do to manage stress and protect our sleep?
Things like deep breathing exercises, yoga, or meditation can help a lot. They calm your nervous system and lower stress levels.
So it's not just about de-stressing in the evening. It's about being more mindful all day long.
Exactly. And find what works best for you.
Right.
Some people find peace in nature, others prefer creative things like painting or writing. Try different things and see what helps you feel grounded and relaxed.
I love that. A personalized approach to stress management.
Yeah,
What about people who've tried all the tricks but still can't sleep?
right.
Should they just accept that they're going to be tossing and turning forever?
No way. Remember, you can always talk to a professional. If you've been struggling for a while and it's affecting your life, don't hesitate to reach out to your doctor.
Yeah.
They can help you rule out any medical conditions and suggest the right treatment.
That's good to know. Sometimes we need a little extra help to get our sleep back on track. But it's encouraging to know that there's help available.
Yeah.
We've talked a lot about the science of sleep, but I'm curious about the more personal side of it. How does sleep affect our mood, our creativity, and just our overall sense of well-being?
That's a great question, and researchers are still figuring that out. But there's more and more evidence that sleep is super important for how we feel and think. Like, when we're sleep deprived, our emotions are all over the place.
No, yeah.
We get irritable, anxious, sad more easily.
So that's why I'm always grumpy after a bad night's sleep. My emotional battery is just drained.
Exactly. But when you get enough sleep, you can regulate your emotions much better. You're more emotionally stable, resilient, and just feel better overall.
So sleep isn't just about physical rest. It's about emotional balance, too.
Exactly. And it's not just mood either. Sleep's also crucial for how well we think. Our memory, attention, even creativity are affected by sleep.
Really? Tell me more about the sleep and creativity link. I've always been curious about that.
Well, studies show that sleep helps solidify memories and make connections between things that don't seem related. And that can spark creative ideas and make you better at solving problems.
So like those aha moments we have in the shower, maybe those are thanks to a good night's sleep.
Could be. Sleep lets our minds wander, making unexpected connections and coming up with new ideas. It's like giving your subconscious time to work its magic.
That's incredible. So maybe making sleep a priority could actually make us more creative and productive.
Definitely something to consider. And remember, it's not just about how much you sleep, but also how well you sleep. Create a good sleep environment and practice good sleep hygiene to make sure you're getting the most restorative sleep possible.
Okay, you've convinced me. Sleep is officially my new superpower. It's crucial for our physical health, how we feel emotionally, and even our creative potential.
And it's a lifelong journey. As our lives change, so do our sleep needs and habits.
Yeah, that's true.
Pay attention to how you feel and make changes to your routine as needed.
Great advice. Well, I think we've covered just about everything there is to know about sleep. Any final thoughts before we wrap up?
Just this. Listen to your body. Pay attention to those cues. If you're tired, rest. Remember, investing in your sleep is investing in your overall health and well-being.
That's a great way to put it. Well, I think it's time for us to practice what we preach and get some shut-eye. Sweet dreams, everyone.
Yeah, it's like your whole body and mind are busy while you're asleep, fixing things, getting back in balance, and getting you ready for the next day.
And the more we learn about sleep, the more we realize how important it is for everything we do.
Absolutely.
It's not just about feeling rested. It's about living a healthier and happier life overall,
Totally agree. Making sleep a priority is honestly one of the best things you can do for yourself. It's so true. Well, before we wrap up this deep dive into sleep, I want to give our listeners a little challenge.
Okay.
Think about how you feel after a really good night's sleep compared to a night when you just tossed and turned.
Yeah. What's the difference? How does it
Right.
affect your day, your mood, your energy?
Exactly. Notice those little signs your body's giving you.
Right.
See how much easier it is to focus, to decide things, even to just enjoy the simple things when you're well rested.
It's a good reminder that sleep isn't a luxury. It's a basic need.
Totally. And if you're having trouble sleeping, don't be afraid to ask for help.
Mhm.
Talk to your doctor, do some research, and see what works for you.
There's no magic solution for everyone.
Right.
The important thing is to find what helps you feel your best.
Well said. I think it's time for us to practice what we preach and get some Z's.
Aha. Sounds good.
Sweet dreams, everyone, and happy sleeping.
Sleep well. It's interesting how our view of sleep has changed over time, right?
It really has, yeah.
Yeah.
I used to think of it as this passive thing, almost like wasted time. Yeah, exactly. But now we understand that sleep is far from passive. It's this dynamic process that's essential for us physically and mentally.
It's like our bodies and minds are working hard even while we sleep, repairing things, restoring balance, and getting us ready for the next day.
And the more we discover about sleep, the more we realize just how vital it is for every part of our lives.
It's not even just about feeling rested. It's about living a healthier, happier, more fulfilling life overall.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Prioritizing sleep is definitely one of the most important things we can do for ourselves.
Okay, so before we wrap up this deep dive into sleep, I want to leave our listeners with a little something to think about. Think about how you feel after a truly good night's sleep versus a night of tossing and turning.
What a difference, right? Your whole day, your mood, your energy.
Exactly. Pay attention to those subtle cues your body's giving you.
Yeah.
Notice how much easier it is to focus, to make decisions, even to just enjoy the simple things when you're well rested.
Yeah. It's a powerful reminder that sleep isn't a luxury. It's a necessity.
And if you're struggling with sleep, don't be afraid to get some help. Talk to your doctor, do your research, and try different things to find what works best for you.
Absolutely. There's no one-size-fits-all solution for sleep. It's about finding what makes you feel your absolute best.
Couldn't agree more. Well, I think it's time for us to practice what we preach and catch some Z's sweet dreams, everyone. And happy sleeping.
Sleep well.